Hi, I'm Anna, and this sequence focuses on some of the key postures of yoga. There are so many yoga postures, but when you go to, for example, a hatha class or vinyasa, slow flow, ashtanga, some of the most common yoga classes will see the same postures cropping up again and again. So this is about talking you through them quite slowly in detail so that you feel confident if you're beginning yoga and you'd like to start a class. Or if you're returning to yoga, or if you simply want to go back to the basics of some of the most key postures. So let's begin by starting in constructive breath, taking the soles of the feet to the floor, about hip distance apart, lowering the spine down. And just taking your hands to your lower abdomen. We're going to start with some three-part breathing. So grounding yourself here, feeling the soles of the feet resting on the floor, feeling the whole of the back resting, shoulders resting, and closing the eyes or taking a steady sort of gentle gaze towards the sky or the ceiling above you. And then tune into the rhythmic breathing that's just happening in your abdomen area. So that slow, steady inhaling and exhaling. Just grounding yourself by focusing in on the breath. And then we're just going to deepen the breathing in this abdomen area, diaphragmatic breathing. So simply feeling the hands rising a little higher up towards the ceiling on the inhale and lowering down to the ground on the exhale. So we're breathing through the nose. And as you exhale, focusing on relaxing down into your mat. Breathing in and breathing out. A few more deep breaths here into the diaphragm, abdomen area. So what can happen as we grow older is that we end up breathing mainly from just under the collarbones at the upper chest. And we're not focusing on this lower abdomen area. But we know that breathing into this lower abdomen area is going to calm the stress hormones which can circulate in the body when we're busy or pressured. And so calming the central nervous system. A few more breaths here. And then taking the hands to the middle of the chest, just under the rib cage here. Our second of 3 points, breathing into this area, feeling the rib cage expanding out to the side as you inhale. And exhaling back to the center. Inhaling. And exhaling. So as you inhale, can you feel your ribs expand out to the sides? And as you exhale, come back to the center. And then taking your hands to the upper chest. Maybe feeling a little less movement here, just breathing nice and deeply under the collarbones. Breathing into the upper chest. So this can be the area that many of us focus on breathing from, particularly if we have a busy life. We're not particularly noticing our breath. We can end up in this upper chest area. So leaving one hand where it is, taking the other hand down to that first point at your lower abdomen. We're going to join those 3 points together, coming into a full yogic breath. So inhaling, feeling your lower abdomen hand rise up as the breath comes in into the center of the chest, our second point, and then feeling the upper chest rising. So that upper hand reaching up to the sky. And then as you exhale, the upper hand, the middle of the chest, and the lower abdomen lowering. Inhaling the lower abdomen, the middle of the chest, and the upper chest. Exhaling the upper chest, the middle, and the lower abdomen. A few more of these in your own time. Full yogic breathing, returning to the kind of breath that we had when we were babies. You watch a baby or a child breathe, they breathe with this whole torso. Uninhibited, full breath, which in turn helps to calm and settle the mind. So we're going to keep this nice full breath going as we move into some postures now. So removing the hands, taking them down to the ground, rolling over to one side and just coming up to sitting on your sit bones. And then crossing the legs if that's comfortable for you. If not, you could just extend the legs out in front of you. And then taking your right palm down to the ground, the left palm facing up, and reaching up and over. So opening down the side of your left waist here, lovely opener for the back and the shoulders, and then coming over to the other side. And you might want to take this left hand quite far away from the body, maybe up to 1 metre away, so that you can bend the elbow rather than being sort of here with the shoulder up to your ear. So just having it a distance away and then coming over to the other side. And we're trying to synchronise our breath with our movement. So as we come over, take a few breaths and then inhaling, coming up, exhaling, coming over to the other side. And then coming back to the centre, just crossing the legs the other way if you did have them crossed like that. And then folding forward, hands coming out in front of you and just releasing the back. And again, this is such a simple movement, but really good release for the whole of the back, the shoulders, the neck. And another really important thing about yoga is it really doesn't matter where we come into in these postures. We may find that coming forward, sitting almost straight like this is where we are today. And it varies so much day to day what we're able to do in these postures. So long, deep breaths here. And then coming up to sitting, taking the hands to the knees, inhaling, taking the chest up to the sky, shoulders dropping away from the ears, exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling, looking up towards the sky, shoulders dropping away from the ears, and then exhaling to fold forward. I'll just show you from the side. Inhaling, taking the chest forward and up, and then exhaling, curling through the spine. Inhaling one way, and exhaling the other. So a nice opener for the shoulders and the back and the neck. And then coming up into gate posture. So coming up onto the knees, feet together, and then taking your right leg out to the side. So we've got the right ankle on the floor, the foot is pointing away from your knee, and then taking the right hand either above or below the knee, left palm facing up, reaching up and over. So again, coming to here may be enough for you, particularly if you've had injury, if you're returning to yoga, if the core isn't feeling too strong at the moment. You could come to take the hand just above the knee here and work towards coming over. So lovely stretch down the side of the left waist. And then coming up and taking your left hand in line with your left knee, lifting the right leg up, flexing the foot, and lifting the top palm up. So the palm is facing forward, fingertips reaching up to the sky. And then maybe bending your back leg and coming to open up to the sky. It's a bit of a heart opener, also opening down the quadricep of your right front of the thigh. And then releasing that right leg down, coming up to where we started. Coming over to the other side, taking your left leg out to the side, the ankle in line with your knee, and then coming into gate on the other side, maybe starting here more upright with the hand above the knee. We just want to make sure that we don't have the hand directly on the knee, and then working to come over to the side. So this top shoulder might want to creep up towards the ear, just drawing it away from the ear, and reaching over. And then coming over to the side, placing that right hand on the floor, lifting the left arm up, and then maybe coming into this variation where we take hold of the ankle, opening up the chest to the sky, and coming back up knees together. Okay, and then let's come up to standing, however's best for you to come up to standing. So we'll come into the Sun Salutation A. Now, Sun Salutation A is a practice in itself. It's a really good opener for the whole of the body. So I'll talk you through sort of version that you might like to start with if you're beginning yoga, and then we'll do another version which is slightly more intermediate, I guess. So taking the big toes together, the heels slightly apart, grounding through the feet, lifting up through the kneecaps. If your tailbone tucks out, just tucking it under, lifting up through the centre of the body, engaging the core muscles. Palms come to the centre of the chest, lifting up through the crown of the head. Inhaling, taking the arms up above the head, pressing the palms together. Exhaling to fold forward. Now if you're beginning, taking the hands onto the shins, crown of the head pulls down to the ground. Inhaling, pressing into the shins gently, looking forward. Backs of the legs are long. And then taking the hands down to the ground, stepping the feet back. And finding your plank position. So the shoulders are over the wrists. And the collarbones are reaching forward. And then lowering the knees, the chest and the chin down to the ground. Inhaling into Cobra, taking the hands under the shoulders. We're just lifting up the chest here, feeling the muscles around the spine strengthen. And then your head dropping down to the ground, pressing into the palms, lifting up and back into a downward facing dog. So if you're beginning yoga, or if your hamstrings feel pretty tight coming into downward facing dog, have a bit of a bend in the knees. Pressing into the palms, the hands are about shoulder width apart, the feet around hip distance apart. Your chest pulling towards your thighs. And then bending the knees even more, looking forward towards the top of your mat, taking the feet forward, hands coming onto the shins, looking forward towards the horizon so you can feel the lengthening through the backs of the legs. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling, the arms coming up above the head, pressing the palms together and back to Tadasana here. So you could do that version again, or you could come to the more intermediate version, which I'll show you now. So inhaling, taking the arms up above the head. Exhaling to fold forward. This time hands coming either side of the feet, fingertips in line with the big toes, crown of the head reaching to the floor. Inhaling, looking forward towards the horizon. Same again here, we've got the length through the backs of the legs. Pressing down into the palms, stepping back into a plank. So this is where it differs from the last version. So taking the shoulders slightly forward, elbows brush the sides of the body, lowering down. Inhaling, tucking the toes so you've got the tops of the feet on the floor, opening up into upward facing dog, pressing down into the palms. Lifting the hips up and back, downward facing dog. So before we had our knees bent, we're working towards having the legs straight. So your chest is pulling towards your thighs, the palms are nice and grounded. You can think of this as an inverted V. Taking a few nice and long deep breaths here. Into the whole of the back, strengthening the arms, the legs. And then bending the knees, looking between the hands, stepping or jumping the feet forward to the top of your mat. Fingertips in line with the big toes, looking forward. Exhaling to fold down. Inhaling the arms up the sides of the body, pressing the palms together. And then back to Tadasana. So you could do anywhere between 1 to 5 of those a day or more. It's a whole practice in itself, as I mentioned. Okay, so let's come to some of the warrior postures. Again, a common posture that you might find in a yoga class. So right foot forward, left foot back about 45 degrees in the left foot. Coming into warrior one, so taking the arms up above the head. Now, in certain practices, we have the heels in line with each other, which is quite strong for the hips to turn to face towards the end of your mat. So these days it's starting to be taught a little bit wider in the stance, as if you're sitting down in a saddle, as if you're riding a horse. So taking the feet slightly wider can be a bit more comfortable for the hips. The hands can either be apart, about shoulder width apart, or you might bring the hands together here, slightly more intense on the shoulders. sitting down, and then opening into Warrior Two, slightly adjusting the feet so we've got the front heel in line with the inner arch of the back foot, and the back edge of the foot is parallel with the end of your mat. And then arms parallel with the floor, and you're looking towards the middle finger of your extended arm, the front arm, and try to keep your right knee in the middle. So it might want to drop over to one side, trying to keep it in the centre here. And then lowering down to the ground. Coming into reverse warrior, so taking this back hand round your waist, turning the right palm up, lifting up and back, reverse warrior. So with all of these warrior postures, if it feels a bit too much today, you could just take a little bit out of the legs, not come down quite as deeply. If you wanted to go further, just bend the leg more. And then coming back into Warrior Two, taking the right elbow to the right knee, Parsvakonasana, taking the left arm up and over. So looking up towards that top palm, opening down the side of the body. So if you imagine the diagonal line of energy all the way from this top hand down the body, you're opening up the chest to the sky. You could also have your hand on the ground if you wanted to go a little further, or maybe come to a bind where you take the hand round behind the back. And coming back to our usual Parsvakonasana, and then rising up, coming around to the other side. So just turn the feet round to Warrior One on the other side, finding whatever you did on the previous side, squaring the hips as if you're sitting down in a saddle, making sure that back edge of the foot behind you is pressing down into the ground and sinking forward. So long deep breath here, straightening the back leg, and then opening into Warrior Two, slightly adjusting the feet, front heel in line with the inner arch of your back foot parallel with the end of the mat. Finding your arms in this placement here with the palms facing down. Tucking the pelvis slightly under. And then coming into reverse warrior, taking the back hand around the waist, the palm in front of you, lifting up and back. Reverse warrior. So we're lifting up and out at the waist. Your top hand is with the palm facing behind you. Putting that strength through the legs, nice long deep breaths. And taking your front hand down to your front knee, lifting that top arm up and over, Parsvakonasana, opening up the chest to the sky. Coming to the variations if you choose to, either taking the hand down to the ground, maybe coming into the bind, opening up to the sky. Coming back into Warrior Two, and then just stepping that back foot forward, taking the hands to the centre of the chest, and releasing the hands. Okay. And then coming into Utkatasana, so taking the feet together. It's as if we're sitting down into a chair, so bending the knees, reaching the arms up above your head, palms facing towards each other. And just taking a few nice long deep breaths here. So again, you can make this as challenging or as simple as you choose. To make it more simple, you could have your hands on your hips, and you could be standing up more straight. To make it more challenging, you could bend the knees, reach the arms up. And then come up to standing. Okay, coming into Parsvakonasana now. So taking the right foot forward, the left foot back on the side of your mat. So you've got about 45-degree angle in the back foot, the legs are straight. Two options here with the hands. You can either take hold of the elbows here, or you could come into reverse prayer and take the hands just behind your back here. Okay, So if you're beginning, you might find that taking the hands to the elbows is enough today. Grounding through the feet. And then inhaling, lifting up nice and tall, exhaling to fold forward. You may find you come sort of parallel with the ground, maybe coming a little lower. So lovely strong stretch to the back of your right leg. Your left hip drawing forward, your right hip drawing back. Taking a few breaths here. And then bringing your hands to your chest. Palms together, coming into Warrior Three, taking the weight into the right leg. You may find this is enough, so you've got your left foot on the ground, maybe taking the weight forward, lifting up that back left leg. If that's okay for you, you could take your arms forward parallel with the ground. And coming back to standing. Coming over to the other side, taking the right leg back, the left foot forward, finding your placement with the arms, lifting up tall through the chest as you inhale, exhaling to fold forward. So maybe coming parallel with the ground, maybe a little further forward. Emphasis here is on opening down the back of that left leg. Nice long deep breaths. Coming into Warrior Three, taking the hands to the chest, bending in the left knee, the right leg coming up. Either staying here with the hands at the chest or maybe extending the arms out in front of you. And then releasing that back leg down. And then just finding your grounding here, just having the feet dropping down into the ground, the crown of the head reaching up to the sky. Catching your breath. And then taking the legs out nice and wide. And having the outside edges of your feet parallel with the outside edges of your mat. Prasarita Palattanasana. So legs are straight, interlacing the hands behind your back. So this would be the placement of the hands. Be inhaling to lift up nice and tall, and then exhaling to fold forward. So again, you may find you come here with your chest kind of parallel to the ground, or maybe the head reaches down towards the floor. The arms coming up and over. Nice long deep breaths here, pelvis tipping up towards the sky. Lovely stretch through the shoulders. And then releasing the hands down to the ground, the right palm just under your head, left palm reaching up to the sky, or fingertips reaching to the sky, palm facing away from the body, turning the head up to the sky, the ceiling, if that's all right for you, and trying to keep the hips in the centre. Swapping the hands over, and looking up towards the other palm. Unless your neck isn't so keen on that, otherwise looking down towards the ground. And then taking the hands down to the ground, taking the hands to the waist, pressing into the legs, inhaling, coming up. And then turning the feet so that the toes point out to the sides and your heels are coming in towards each other now. Goddess squat. So opening the arms out to the sides, sitting down. So to make this more challenging, of course, you would sit further down into the squat. If you want to take the pressure off a bit, then you can have your hands on your waist and not come down quite as far. And then coming up to standing, stepping to the top of your mat. And then just stepping out to the side, and we'll come to Trikonasana's triangle posture. So you've got your left foot pointing away from your body, your right foot turned in slightly, and it's as if there's a line drawn between your heels here. Arms parallel with the floor, and the triangle in this posture is between the legs, so we're keeping the legs nice and straight. Inhaling to lift up, exhaling this left arm coming out over your left leg, taking the hand onto the shin, opening up to the sky. So in this posture you've got a few options again. If that felt a bit much having the hand on the shin, you could be higher up, taking the hand up the thigh. Or you could come further by taking hold of the big toe and then opening up here. But only coming to that if you're very, very open through the hips, the legs. For most of us, taking the hand onto the shin will be enough. Or if it's okay in your core, your back, taking the back of the hand to the inner shin. Opening up the chest to the sky. And then coming up to standing for the other side. Okay, and then turning the legs round to the other side. Just lining up your heels as if there's a straight line between your heels and slightly turning in this back foot. Lifting up nice and tall through the spine and then reaching out and over your right leg. And coming to the same options again, taking the hand either onto the shin or maybe the back of the hand to the inside of the shin if your core feels strong, or maybe taking hold of the big toe if you're super flexible in the hips and the back. And then opening the chest up to the sky, palm of the top hand facing forward, and keeping your spine long so you can feel the legs strong, the core muscles engaging. Nice long deep breaths here. And either looking up to the sky, if that wasn't so comfy, you could look forward and keeping the neck more straight and long here. And pressing into the legs, preparing to come up, inhaling, coming up to standing, and coming to step forward to the top of your mat. Okay, so let's come to some balancing postures now. Let's come to wonky star. So let's take the right foot out to the side, take the weight into the left foot pointing forward, reaching the arms up above the head, and just drawing this right foot off the ground. So fingertips are reaching up. This is a fantastic posture for building strength in the legs, the arms, and also the core muscles. So lifting that top leg up, and then coming over to the other side. So all these balancing postures, find a drishti point or a gaze point on the floor or in front of you. I like to choose a really specific point on the floor or the wall. It really helps with the balance. And then coming back to the centre. And coming into tree posture. So taking the weight into the right foot, the left foot either coming into the ankle, either to the inner shin there, or maybe to the inner thigh. And then taking the hands to the centre of the chest. So engage your standing leg. That will help to stabilise what you're doing. Taking the left knee out to the side, maybe taking the arms up above your head. Thumb and the index finger together, it's chin mudra. Find your gaze point, drishti point. And then releasing down there. Over to the other side, taking the weight into your left leg, really engaging that left leg and finding stability through the four corners of the feet. Taking the right leg into the inner thigh. And maybe this time taking the hands to the chest or up into that chin mudra. And then releasing down there. And another really nice balancing posture, again quite a calm posture that you may find in classes, is eagle posture or Garudasana. So taking the weight into the right foot and the left leg coming over the front to start off with. And then taking the right arm over the left, as if you're making an X with your arms, crossing the arms and then drawing the elbows down to the ground. And you may find that you can bend in that right leg, and then the left leg may be able to come around the back of the calf and just have the toes around the back of the calf. Now your knees will want to veer off over to the right probably, so just drawing them back to the centre. And then crown of the head reaching up to the sky. And then releasing the hands and the knees. Feels really good because we flush all the joints of the body with fresh oxygenated blood when we let go of that posture. So straightening through the left foot, just taking your right leg over and then come to the arms. So left arm over the right. And this time try taking your hands up to the sky, slightly different muscles that we work as we take the palms, the hands up to the sky. Finding your gaze point or your drishti point, either staying at this version where you keep the foot on the floor or maybe bending a little lower, taking the foot behind the calf. Either is good. And then releasing down there. Okay, and then taking your weight into your right foot and just simply taking the hands to the hips and extending your left leg. So you may have the foot literally just tiny movement off the floor, and you're standing up nice and straight and engaging the core muscles, pulling the tummy button in towards the spine. This may be enough. You may be lifting the leg a little higher. And then taking hold of the inside edge of your left foot, the right arm lifting up, and then drawing forward. So we don't have to come very far forward here to feel a stretch down the front of your left thigh, the quadricep. So just taking that left foot further back as you lean forward, and then coming over to the other side. Taking the weight into the left foot, finding your stability, taking the hands to the hips, and then lifting the right leg off the floor. And then taking the inside of your right foot, finding your balance point. No need to come too far forward here, we're just opening down the front of your right thigh, quadriceps, hip flexors. And then letting go there. And then coming down to the ground for some seated postures. So Janu Shirshasana. Taking the left leg forward, the right sole of the foot comes to the inner thigh, and then just turning your hips so you're facing towards that left foot. Now we may come folding forward to around here, taking the hands down to the ground or to the knee, or maybe taking the hands around the outside edge of your left foot. Folding forward here. Nice long deep breath into the whole of the back. Opening down the back of your left hamstring. And coming up, taking the right palm behind you, lifting the left arm up and over, lifting the hips to the sky. And then coming over to the other side. Taking the right leg forward, left sole of the foot coming into the inner thigh. Hips will want to veer off to the left, so you're just squaring them back over towards the right and folding forward here. Long deep breaths into the whole of the back. And then taking this left hand behind you, reaching the hips up and back, opening down the front of the body. And then coming down and coming into Dandasana. So Dandasana looks quite a simple posture, but it's quite strong. So the legs are straight. You can almost lift your heels up off the ground so that you can really feel the thighs engaging. Hands either side of the hips, opening up through the chest. And then we simply hold here for a few breaths. So Dandasana means staff or stick. So if you think of a staff really straight and strong, that's the qualities that we're aiming for here. And then releasing down. 2 options here for the next one, nice strengthener for the core. So you can come to tabletop, taking the soles of the feet to the floor, about hip distance apart, fingertips pointing towards your toes, and come to lift up and maybe drop the neck back if that's all right for your neck, otherwise looking forward. Or coming into Purvottanasana, so the legs are straight, pressing down into the palms, lifting the hips up to the sky. And then releasing down there when you're ready. Okay, and then coming into Upavista Konasana, taking the legs out to the sides. You might like to have a block under your hips for this as we come to fold forward if it feels a little much to fold forward. So first option is to take your hands down to the ground and draw your chest down. If that feels too much, you could come back a step and take the hands to the knees, lifting up nice and tall here. So you're working on your core strength and your leg strength here. Otherwise, taking the hands forward to take hold of the toes, lifting up nice and tall, exhaling, maybe folding forward here. Long, deep breaths. So we're releasing into the back. And then coming up, sitting, releasing, block. And just drawing the knees so that both of the knees are bent and you've got your left sole of the foot into the right thigh. Twisting round to go to your left shoulder, lifting up nice and tall. A few deep breaths here, a bit of a twist. And then coming back around to the other side. And back to centre. And a few postures for our core strength. So boat posture in Navasana. Now 2 options here. So you can take the feet, have them on the ground to begin with, find your balance, and then take the legs up off the floor. So this is your first option, having the arms and the legs parallel with the ground. If that's all right for you, you can take your legs up to the sky. Whichever version you prefer. You might like then to cross the legs, press into the hands, and come up to another one. So you're opening your chest up to the sky, feeling that core strength. It doesn't take too long or too many of these to really feel the core strengthening. And then crossing the legs, pressing into the palms, lifting up. And then coming forward into crow or bakasana. So this is a strength posture, but it's also about balancing. So you might like to take a block or a cushion in front of your head here. Palms nice and grounded on the floor, pressing into the hands and lifting the hips quite high up. So you may come to taking your feet together and the knees out to the sides around your upper arms. And this may be where you come to today, if you're beginning. So you've just got the knees resting on the upper arms. Otherwise, taking the weight forward and lifting the feet up. I'll just show you that from the side. So palms resting on the ground, lifting the hips nice and high, taking the knees to the upper parts of your arms, taking the weight into the hands, finding your drishti point at your gaze point, working on straightening the arms and holding there for a few breaths, okay? And then coming down to the ground, come down to a few back bends as we draw towards the close of our practice. So coming into locust, legs are together, taking the hands behind your back, interlacing the fingers and lifting the chest off the ground. So lovely strong opener across the shoulders, lifting the legs. And then taking the hands forward into Sphinx. So the palms pressing down, pressing the forearms into the ground. The chest is reaching forward. Just settling breath here in Sphinx. Gentle back bend. Either staying here in Sphinx, or if you'd like to go further, coming into Dhanurasana. So bending the feet back towards the sit bones. Hands come to the outside edges of your feet. Now as we lift everything up off the ground, keeping the knees towards each other rather than splaying out to the sides. Long deep breaths. And then slowly lowering down to the ground, taking the hands to make a pillow under your head and just resting the head into the hands, allowing the back to settle here. Few nice long deep breaths here. And then taking the hands either side of your head and pushing back, and then coming to lie down on the ground for a few closing postures. So Seti Bandhasana, taking the soles of the feet to the floor, making sure the outside edges of your feet are parallel the outside edge of your mat, lowering everything down to the ground, pressing the hands down into the mat, lifting the pelvis up towards the sky, keeping the feet straight, drawing the shoulders under the back, taking hold of the hands, interlacing the fingers, lifting the hips up to the sky. If you wanted to go further, taking the left foot to the centre line, reaching the right leg up to the sky. Swapping the feet over. Right leg pushes down, left leg lifts. Taking the hands and the feet down to the ground, and then lowering slowly down to rest on the floor. So you can just come to rest here, coming into a final relaxation with the palms facing up, or if you'd like to come towards the wall, we can come into our final postural inversion, where we take the feet over the heart, coming into Viparita Karani. So this is a really restorative posture. We're simply taking the legs up the wall, and you could have moved your mat under your back if you chose to. So simply resting here with the legs up the wall, coming to feel the whole of the body nice and heavy. Very restorative for the body to have the feet up in the air. So to help the lymphatic system clear cell debris and detox the body. So you can stay here for as long as you like. You can stay for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You can think of this as a bit of an SOS posture. If you just need to deeply rest, you could come to your mat and just do a few minutes of this. And then coming to take the feet down, coming into our final relaxation, or Shavasana. So lying flat on the ground and taking the feet out to the side, palms facing up. If you've got a blanket, you might like to put it on now. If you've got an eye pillow to go over the eyes, that can be nice too. So let's scan through the body, relaxing parts of the body as we go. Again, a technique which has been used for thousands of years as a way to calm the mind and relax the body. So taking your attention to the soles of the feet and relaxing the soles of the feet now. Relaxing the big toes, second toes, third toes, fourth toes, and little toes. Relaxing the tops of the feet, relaxing the ankles, calves and the shins, and finding a spaciousness around the muscles and bones and tendons of the knees. Releasing through the backs of the thighs and the fronts of the thighs, the pelvis nice and heavy, the lower back relaxing, the middle of the back and the upper back, and the stomach area, the abdomen, middle of the chest and the upper chest. Relaxing both of the shoulders away from the ears, and then relaxing all the way down the arms, down into the tips of the fingers. Relaxing the whole of the neck, back of the head, top of the head, whole of the face. So allowing the whole of the body to deeply relax now. Feeling a heaviness through the whole body as you rest in Shavasana. And again, you could stay here for as long as you like, allowing the body to assimilate all of this excellent movement and breath work you've done in your practice. For now, we'll come to bring a little bit of movement into the fingers and the toes. Begin to deepen the breath. And listen to the sounds around you. Sounds inside the room. Maybe the sounds outside the room. And then rolling over to one side. If you're pregnant, rolling over to your left. Otherwise, the suggestion is to roll over to the right. And then just slowly coming up to sitting, pressing your hand into the ground. Coming up to sitting, keeping the eyes closed, sitting however is comfortable, maybe cross-legged, hands to the knees. And to close, just taking 3 nice long deep breaths. So inhaling fully and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And then just bringing the hands to the centre of the chest, opening the eyes when you're ready. And namaste. So I hope that was a useful practice for you of the key postures of yoga. Thanks for tuning in.